Hey, Dimitri. So, after a long day of day job work today, this is my reward. I get to sit down and take a look at the cool stuff that we're creating together. So, first off, just right off the rip, I think we have a couple things that we want to talk through a little bit, I'll put in some other materials for you. But um, one of the things is we need to start preparing our art for the in-game camera. It's hard to judge the details, and so I just took the concept that we had here, and then I shrunk it down by 80%. But it's one of those things where, I mean, here it's at 60. So looking at it from this perspective is different, obviously, than looking at it from 70. So if we want to work in 2x resolution and do that, that's totally fine. But it's making it harder for us to judge how the details need to come together, right? How much floor do we need in the front? How big is our attendant going to be compared to like Dr. Bosky? Is it normal human size? Is she larger? How does this all play a role? And then as we progress through, of course, taking a look at where we're at with this. Yeah, so I mean, we talked about it a little bit as well, but I think that in order to frame the right play space, the right visual information, and what we really think is meaningful, and to create the sense of depth in the scene to allow for the play space and the imagery of telling the visual narrative, we want to find that right balance between being too much detail in the player's face. And I think even when we reduce contrast, we won't quite get there. So our saturation. So I think we need to kind of find this strike. We got to strike this balance because I think the concepts are going well. But yeah, putting it all together is like the next step. So I also want to point out to you that so I changed the naming or the images. So take a look in Engine here, and this is just level 2, right? And then let's match those file names. So you can always you click on it and find the file name. It's in the image directory as a .png. So that way you can start to iterate and really tweak what you think the size should be for the images, because we're still trying to get a good sense for this whole thing, right? And maybe while we're talking about it, why don't we just take a quick look? So we have this concept of the exterior. Then we have the intro into the lobby. We're gonna blow our way through this wall, which would be super cool. But I feel like maybe we're not pushed far enough back for the back wall and the front play space of the lobby to really match. And then here we have this, so I'll give some feedback on this too, which is really cool. This is the previous version, but as a note here, in the previous version, you had a couple of these hard shapes. I really like the idea that something in these laser projectors are also formulating I think some of the shapes. So as we're like as the client is going through and picking those shapes, that they are some of them are starting to materialize. I don't think we need a lot, just a few. I think the front bumpers are great. Maybe like part of the upper canopy. I'm still exposing the I think the holographic stuff. The next version you have is great. So, and then the other big thing that we're trying to get a sense for here is how much slower should the camera go? Is this about the right space? Because we need to block out gameplay. And then of course what the play space looks like. And then I think for our conversation on Sunday, we also then need to figure out, I think with the robotic arms, I think you're going to be fighting a bunch of these things. There'll be enemies that are kind of on the ground floor as well coming in, and I'll be super fun. We can always bring in more arms that are kind of the foreground arms. So I saw the updated version of this. I'll give you feedback on that, but this is basically the section in which the car materials, the paint, and the kind of mood of the machine is starting to become together. And I'm going to show you what this looks like here in just a second for the people that are watching. And then we have the final I think arena here, right? So this is all about where the weapons you choose on your crazy super sports spy car then wind up getting attached to the car. And then this is basically where the client would then get into their vehicle and then fly out. So yeah, we're still working on this perspective, right, and what that looks like. And then at the very end, we have the, I think the exterior, you blow your way out of the balcony. This is the luxury VIP waiting center or whatever, the concierge service. And yeah, so I just wanted to point out that I put those in engine as well, and that we should also iterate on those here. So now let's take a look at the latest version of the lobby, right? So so we need more colorful, I think, lighting. I know this is some concepting what that looks like. So I found a couple images. I really like kind of this weird, interesting, like thicker lines and sort of the circuitry. But also these have some, while it's very ominous in this case, they also have, I think, some really nice accents that really shape the lobby with some lighting accents and trim. And I think we should bring some of these concepts over into our sort of overhead / back wall. The big thing obviously is the projector for itself for PAL Autoforma. Some other pieces here is, yes, we need to design the exterior of the building. Like the experience starts when the client comes and lands. I want to see like a luxury hover car. This is kind of where people like the rich people are like, hey, I want to go out and do the combat car experience, right? I feel like that's the thing I want to do. And so the concierge shuttle, which is also a combat car, a PAL Autoforma car, is then it shuttles them to this experience, right? It's got this kind of hover anti-grav thing. It's got this kind of like lift into the building. It's kind of regal and royal. If we need more space, we certainly can. So we don't have to shove it all in just this little width here. So I could see us, if we needed, a little bit more space out here, we definitely could do that too. And that wouldn't be a problem. So, if it's like, oh, hey, we need another panel. I'm drawing gray on gray. 255. Yeah. So if we needed hello, man. Yeah. So if we needed if we had like an extension of the panel, if you need that to then kind of graduate and pull the player kind of into understanding the enormity of the building, right? And then there's just big, we need to design some stairs that are like, hey, you go from your, maybe one of the cool parts is that the car, the PAL Autoforma car, actually the panels break away and you're left in your like luxury pod, and the luxury pod from the car is what takes you into this, into the PAL Autoforma lobby, right? So like, oh, you're already comfortable in your luxury seat from the moment the company comes and picks you up, right? So I want us to do some thinking along those lines, yeah, because this is that visual storytelling medium that you've pushed me to do. So here we go. So another aspect of kind of just a cool aspect of the lobby. And I think we could take some architectural elements from this, right? Like, which might be really cool. We have these kind of these digital wall displays, right? So we're getting there with some of what we got, but I think we're kind of shortchanged on that early interior and then the exterior shot into the interior. And then I went on this sort of like I went on on kind of an exploration of, well, since we've got this, we obviously have the logo itself, or we have the like digital poster board, right? This is like the big corporate signage advertising that's out in the world as well. But then I was like, hey, you know what we're kind of missing? We're missing the PAL Autoforma luxury brand logo. And so definitely enjoying how we got the hello. Can I do that? Can I do that? Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, so we've got this kind of like this kind of P here, and then you've got the A, right? Which is kind of neat. I thought that was kind of cool. I like that it's high. This is also kind of in the bronze tones, right? Which I really enjoy. Like, part of how we are portraying the luxury district, right, is we've got this hue from the atmosphere, but also this like bronze, orangish, reddish, glowy hues, right? We got a little bit of that, but we have this kind of you know, and we go to the interior and we're a bit more, we're going to go in these cooler hues up into these warmer hues. So I thought, well, maybe there's something that kind of bridges that outside flavor to the inside a little bit more. So just food for thought here. But I thought this was a really cool kind of exploration. It gives us the opportunity to turn it into like, like a big metal insignia, metal brand, something like that. Also a couple other bits here. Oh, that reminds me. Let me pause this real quick. I want to see. Yeah, so you want to see something awful? I'll show you something awful. This is bad. So I'm trying to ideate with, and this is don't you know, like ignore a bunch of this, but it was like, hey, is there a realm where we could take our logo for this like Palo Autoforma and we could tweak it to be metallic and awesome and regal, right? But then could we bring back some of that like it's like you got these combat options, right? Like, is there a way for us to sort of bolt, you know, and I almost imagine it in this way, right? Where it's like, here's the luxury, and then, you know, like, in terms of the insignia, or the logo, and then maybe it's something like, I don't know, could we do a thing where, you know, these are like, you know, like gun turret things, right? Like we could integrate it into the design where it's premium sports car is premium spy James Bond like sports car combat car, right? It's still a mouthful. I'm working on it, but I don't know. I was thinking something along those lines, but I kind of like where we were going with this. So maybe there's something that we can kind of co-op together in that, but I figured, and oh yeah, we need to explore this, right? And then in terms of color, because we love color, I thought, you know, these hues are kind of nice, but something that also is very like cyber corpo. You know, we got this kind of shift from the blues to the more like the purplish in this case. But I kind of like that the kind of aspect. So I thought we could wheel all this together and maybe explore that. And then we plonk this bad boy, you know, either on the outside, like, oh, here's your big plonky bit, right? Or it could go in here, or we can, you know, like, so maybe there's something there. We could also, you know, yeah, there's those things we could do. So that was kind of what I was thinking. And then what else? Yeah. So the other side that we've got here looking at this is we're a little bit more, I mean, still concepting, right? I feel like we're missing an opportunity to have a graphic design, like a high visual installation compared to looking at I was scrolling through here like I was going to see these other images. That's funny. Compared to at where things are going to come, right? Okay, hang on. There we go. There we go. Mixing up my Photoshop controls with my engine controls. Yeah, so we're a tiny bit too brutalistic, I think, compared to like what is going on in here with these like high reflective floors, right? Like in here. So I feel like, yeah, like we're basically we need to work on our designs there. But in general, I think you know, we're starting to get there, right? So with the sizing, what that looks like. So I had a couple of things there. Is coming back to like, I'm a sucker for these like data feeds or this information, like just these panels, right? And I love that these panels have like these like accents for this kind of showroom floor. I like that this kind of hallway goes in the back, right? Like there's some cool stuff that we can do that suggests more. And then kind of coming back to look at this, this like, you know, back wall luxury design or graphic design bits here. Maybe it's not quite this pattern, but you can see kind of like where I was thinking about with the logo and like, you know, kind of finding a way where we can bring the graphic design of the brand into the architectural presentation and then coming together with those kind of cyber corpo notes, right? So corpo punk notes. Okay. So I know that's a lot. So that was good. Very, very cool. I will put this image up for you. Now, let's take a look at this. All right. First off, thank you so much. I know holograms are a pain to work with. Wait a minute. Is this right? This is not right. This is not right. So let me see. Is this one? That's not right either. 1 second. This is right. There we go. Doink. All right. Oop. And different image size. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yes, this is way more what I'm thinking. I'd love the holographic notes. Now what I would love for us to do is to take the, where did it go? Wait, no, don't show that yet. That's the fun stuff. Okay. Is it here? Ah, there we go. Okay. So in our previous iteration, I also really liked that we had a few of the pieces, right? That are like materialized. So coming back to like something with the laser grids, also we'll call them nano particle, particle 3D laser fields, right? So they're kind of printing some of the parts as they're being selected for the next process. And I thought, so I thought we could bring some of that back, not too much, just some of it, right, to accent part of the process. But for here, maybe over here, kind of what you were thinking, or like I really think like we could do the top of the car a bit more. So it kind of tells this interesting story of how the customer is both selecting the parts, but also some of them are starting to get built and selected from their selections, and then these things are in these fields, and then those fields move over. Maybe they get teleported into the next scene, and then that's where the next process kind of comes together. So that's what I thought there. Very, very cool. I think we're getting there. Now, again, I think the big thing for us, right, is what we are working on right now for concepting is not really relevant to the in-game scale. And I think we really need to crack that nugget, because we can't get through this refinement and development of these spaces until we really know what the camera is looking at, right? And otherwise, it's going to be extra painful. So we really should, with this next iteration, work on then really focusing on what the in-game camera looks like. Because then we can also time it out a little bit and start to play with which elements we're going to animate in scene, as we talked about on Sunday. So, all right. And then the last thing, look at this thing. Oh, yeah. This is cool. This is cool for a lot of reasons. So first of all, if you're watching right now, just drink this in. What the heck is going on right now? You've got this personalized car manufacturing thing. We have this, like, I don't know, this weird like molecular liquid tunnel thing, right? In which these arms are taking essentially where the car was then configured into its body type, its chassis, and then it's starting to move it through. And then you're getting this like mood feedback. It's both painting material and texture and color all at the same time. Mwah, it's delicious. Love that we've got these weird projector things. And I think the projector things we could probably, as I'm looking at this a little bit more, I think the projector things we could rotate a little bit more to have, like, right now they're just up, but we could rotate a little bit more to show interactions with, with the car itself, or maybe the metallic ring. So that's just a small thing there. But I think also the big thing here is that right now we're in this orange color space, and then the car is kind of in this orange color space. And I think if we're thinking exotic, right? If I come back to the luxury brand of this, let me see over here. Ba-boom. We should have we should figure out what our final car is going to look like. Is it this? I don't think it's quite this. Maybe it's this. But I think that is also going to inform some of what this looks like, right? And we should be liberal about this. Like, I mean, these blues, these pinks. So we should really think about, hey, what's a very eye-catching color for this? And I think that we're already starting to suggest this with kind of these, like, this rippling liquid, which is dope. I just think we also need to think about the color space of the car itself. And to select some colors that are we're coming back to like the Lamborghini, like some of the audacity of the Lamborghini colors, right? So, and we should probably think about what that looks like. We could go with like the blues, right? There's something Probably not the oranges. We could also start to go into the reds because we know that you're going to fight this thing at the end of the day, right? So maybe it's a mixture of the blues and reds. But then also we could go crazy garish with like the neon greens, right? You know, I'm a big sucker for like two tones. Like midnight purple is one of my favorite colors. So I think that we need to do some thinking around the car and what it's going to be customized into. And then we probably need to think about the decaling and what that looks like from a, you know, from like what's happening in part of the process. We'll lose this thing. The world's most expensive Lamborghini, the Egoista. Wow, holy crap. Dude, this thing looks like that is weird. That is really cool. Yeah, but you get the point. You get the point. So we're getting there. All super, super cool. Love that we added the, now we've got these kind of like, I feel like these, like we should make these feel more like they're tubes or canisters. Right now they feel like they're neon lights, like they're just lighting. So I feel like we need to bring in some function. But overall, I like the way that this environment is shaping up to as well. So, and then, you know, we need to think about, I think there's something here in like the function of these and the tracks maybe. The tracks that they're on. I have this sense that they're kind of on these magnetic tracks that can lift up, or maybe this is how it transports the like their car carriers. So like once it comes out, it lays down on I'm pointing at the screen like you know what I'm talking about, but maybe it lays down on the machine itself. And then that's kind of what then, I don't know, takes over to the nether. We don't have to do every moment to moment, but it takes over to the next scene, right? So in general, like where we're at with I think the arm designs, and yeah, we can tweak those a little bit. They may be a tad too industrial, but I'm willing, like, let's see how this feels in the context. Because one of the other things we need to do, big project for us, right, is as we think about each of the scenes, we need to then come back and then do an experiment of, how do we connect each of these rooms inside this one, like, you know, like spy car to table, like fantasy? How does it flow across this one space? And then how does the machinery and functionality, while it can be different, how does it feel like it's in the same, I think, industrial space, right? And then probably the last piece of this is luxury, luxury, luxury. Like a big part of this is about how the customer's senses get tickled at each point, in the industry or the mechanics or the machinery should also be part of the artistic design of the experience. Like when you see a car built like this for you out of your imagination, and your custom, like, you know, sort of customized Chinese menu option kind of things, what you walk away from is describing to your friends how this is now your, you know, Mad Max machine of the future in case of all society falls apart, right? This is what we get to do hanging out on a Tuesday night. All right, with that, I'm going to get these materials up for you. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you soon.